Success often feels like a series of deliberate choices, but it remains incredibly fragile. In a single evening, a season of calculated risks and back-breaking work can be crushed by a storm that doesn't care about your plans. Ramdan had done everything right. He borrowed to plant, tended the soil with his family, and finally saw a harvest that promised a way out of poverty. But as the rain flooded his fields, that promise vanished, leaving his children with nothing but an empty kitchen and a looming debt. That disaster became an opportunity for Seth Hariram, the village moneylender. He didn't see a grieving family. He saw a chance to invoke a legal loophole. He seized Ramdan's ancestral land immediately, turning a natural catastrophe into a total eviction. This is the moment of the crucible. When the environment destroys your livelihood and the system strips your dignity, the pressure forces a choice. You break, you become as ruthless as your oppressors, or you find a way to evolve. Seth Hariram operates through the quiet violence of paperwork. He uses technicalities to paralyze those who cannot defend themselves, turning property ledgers into tools of confinement. This creates a stark divide. While the Seth counts his gains, Ramdan's family is pushed into the forest. They are left with no shelter and no resources, stripped of everything but their willingness to keep moving. Even in total loss, the two men drift further apart in their thinking. The Seth owns the village, yet acts out of a frantic need to hoard more. Ramdan owns nothing, yet he spends his energy focusing on his family's survival rather than planning for revenge. Losing a farm is a physical setback, but losing the ability to see others as human is a different kind of failure. As Ramdan enters the woods, he is unknowingly beginning a test of character that the Seth has already failed. Survival in the wilderness requires a specific kind of grit. Ramdan picks up an axe and begins the repetitive, exhausting labor of chopping wood, refusing to let his desperation turn into bitterness. He sells the timber for a pittance, returning home with only enough for dry bread and boiled vegetables. Despite the exhaustion, he keeps his promises to his children, insisting that their current state is only temporary. This period of struggle serves as an education. By living at the absolute edge of survival, Ramdan is learning the exact emotional and physical cost of a single meal. Most people, when faced with such relentless hardship, look for someone to blame. Ramdan's ability to carry this weight without letting it distort his character is what sets him apart from the men who simply seek to rule. One afternoon, Ramdan pushes deeper into the forest than usual. He finds a glowing golden cave, a hidden court ruled by a mysterious, solitary king. The king listens to the story of the storm and the theft of the land. He presents Ramdan with gold coins, identifying them as a return on the integrity the farmer showed while his life was falling apart. Ramdan uses this wealth to settle his debts and reclaim his farm, but he doesn't stop there. He opens a timber business, creating employment and ensuring his new resources flow outward. Seth Hariram, obsessed with the gold, tracks him to the cave, expecting the same reward without performing the work. The cave reacts to the man's history rather than his words. Recognizing a lifetime of exploitation, the king orders the Seth to be imprisoned, allowing the darkness he created for others to finally claim him. Power and wealth act as a reveal. They take the existing structure of a person's character and amplify it for everyone to see. As his business grows, Ramdan remains unchanged. He continues to work alongside his neighbors, viewing his success as a shared resource for the community. His life takes a final turn when a messenger from the cave arrives at his door. The king has requested his presence one last time for a final decree. The king reveals that he is dying without an heir. The gold coins he gave out earlier were a filtering mechanism, a way to see how a man would handle sudden power after experiencing total ruin. The king chose a woodcutter to take his place because he needed a leader who understood the weight of the structure from the bottom up. By inverting the traditional hierarchy, the person who knows the people's pain supports the weight of the entire kingdom. A throne is a burden that should only be carried by those who have been tested in the fire of loss. Only those who have survived the darkness truly know how to protect others from it. Ramdan accepts the crown, telling his family that their new role is not to be served by the public, but to use the palace's resources to solve the village's problems. His rise highlights the Seth's ultimate failure. Authority built on greed eventually collapses under its own weight, while authority built on service finds a way to endure. Real power belongs with those who never fought to seize it, but who have the character to wield it for the sake of those still standing in the rain.